Marvin Harrison as he caught it between two defenders on a 30-yard TD pass.
This Saturday, Ohio State opens the 2023 season in Bloomington as they take on Indiana. Pregame begins at 2 o'clock on your Toledo home for Buckeye football. ESPN 100.7, The Ticket. Wake up with ESPN 100.7, The Ticket. It is the place to be for sports and more on Sunday morning, starting at 6 a.m. It's the Ragtime Rick Radio Extravaganza. Then at 9 o'clock, go into the cheap seats with Mitch Gonzalez. And at 10 a.m., it's Ecological Talk on For a Green Future. It's all here Sunday mornings on Go Sports Leader, ESPN 100.7, The Ticket.
With Prince Bell, we rocking with Keeping It Real Sports, and we gonna be on this. We gonna be on a lot of times. I love the platform. Check in. It's the new wave. Like, follow, subscribe, and do all that good stuff.
Come on. Told you I got you. Wanna talk about his game, he can talk about it. Tennis, match, golf, he can talk about it. Don't matter what it is, he can talk about it. Any sport dude, he know about it. Save your boy bum, don't doubt it. If he tell you that it is what it is. The real sports guy in the Sandman. Talk show game in the bag, man. Rep, don't have to throw the flag, man. Steve Taylor, Andy Sands. It's over, OVA. Game over, they don't play. From the fourth quarter to the ninth inning. NASCAR wheels keep spinning. To the 18th hole, he's still in control. Guy on the go. Coach never missing the play, cause he know the deal. This keeping it real. Sports. Come on. Keeping it real. Yeah. Let's go.
It's another Saturday morning here on Keeping It Real. I am your boy, the real sports guy. Thanks for joining us. He is the Sandman, Andy Sanzada, and we got a big show planned for you today. Tell them about it, partner.
All right, Steve, we got quick hitters as always. Obviously, we're going to break down the NFC side of things. We did the AFC last week. We'll do the NFC side. And we bring back our favorite segment, everybody's favorite segment.
And what would that be, sir?
Who you got, brother? We're gonna pick these college games today, and hey, look, it's also the return of that dude.
That dude. That's where we give you the stud of the week in college football. We'll do that for you throughout the season. Thanks for our new ESPN listeners for joining the show. The man in the bottom square right there joining us from the ESPN studios is Josh Burnham. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Another hour is almost in the books, and we are just getting started with Keeping It Real. So if you want to keep it real, you got to keep it real with the real guys.
That's it. So, hey, man, let's get to work, man. Hey, man, we do this thing. We call it Hot Off the Press.
All right, Steve. Well, you got to start in New York, right? I mean, it's U.S. Open. It's September, so it's time for the U.S. Open. And a lot of storylines here to go through. Obviously, the one you've got on the screen there, Venus Williams, unranked, but gets a wild card. But, Steve, she's 43. I think it might be time to step off the court. She got whacked 6-1,
Ease
6-1.
up, Andy. My gosh, the sentiment, bro. The sentiment. It's history. His story. Bro.
I'd rather hear a story like Caroline Wozniacki, who's coming back after having 2 kids, and now she's playing Coco Gauff in the next round for a spot in the quarter.
And she gonna lose.
Okay.
This where it ends. But I tell you
I'm just telling you. Listen,
were you up last night?
Yes, I was. She can't keep losing first sets and win this tournament, Steve. I'm telling you right now. She's got to find a way to not do that. It's going to wear on her. It's going to catch up to her. Obviously, another big storyline in the U.S. Open as well. John Isner, one of the best American tennis players of all time. He is the best server of all time. He has the all-time record in the ATP with 14,480 aces. He retires. He got beat in a 5-set thriller in the second round match, and then he also lost in the doubles as well on the same day. Ouch, Steve, that one hurt.
Well, what does that tell you? He spent too much damn time working on his serve. You need to work on the rest of your game, bro, because it's suffering, obviously.
16 titles. He did enough throughout his career, so congratulations to him. And Jack Sock also retired on the American side. But, Steve, let's talk about the Americans because they are the story here at the U.S. Open. 3 American men have a chance to reach the semifinals. Tommy Paul, Taylor Fritz, and Francis Tiafoe, our guy that reached the semifinals last year. They're all playing great tennis. I like one of them to get through for sure.
Well, I hope Tiafoe finally breaks through, man, and gets through it. But, man, this is exciting time, man. You know we love, man. We love our tennis around here, man. I certainly do. Man, hey, man, let's keep moving, man. We do this thing, man, we call quick hitters. Let's do it. Quick hitters.
Let's start with a world record that was set earlier this week. Nebraska volleyball. Now, we saw the football program lose another game the other night by 1 score, so they have to look at the volleyball team to get excited. They filled a football stadium with 92,003 fans to watch a volleyball match. How about that?
Yeah, man, that was pretty exciting, man. I had a chance to check that out. I tell you what else was pretty exciting, man, is the fact, man, that this young lady, Simone Biles, people that can't see what I have on the screen, man, make sure you tune in on Keeping It Real Sports Facebook page or our YouTube page if you want to keep up on that. But number 8 for Simone Biles, I'm talking about national championship. Yeah, you see the gold over there because that's exactly what she is, the greatest of all time.
Well, the Ryder Cup team was finished out this week, Steve. The captain's picks by Zach Johnson ended up being Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, Sam Burns, and Brooks Koepka. That's a big deal.
Yeah, well, I tell you what else is a big deal is the fact that Earl Spence has hit his rematch clause and he's evoked that. He looks like he's going to take that. Bomac, who is the trainer for Crawford, sends a stern warning saying you might want to think twice about that, and I concur.
Oh, we've said all along Crawford's the best fighter on the planet, so we'll see if Spence can hang in there long enough to make that a good fight. How about this one, Steve? Lionel Messi called up by Argentina for the World Cup qualifiers, which means he leaves Inter Miami in their quest for a championship. This is a big deal for soccer fans because this guy was selling out arenas all over, stadiums, I should say, all over the country. And now everybody that bought a ticket to see him may not get to see him because he's going to play for Argentina in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, well. Well, I tell you what you are seeing. You're seeing history being made because Ronald Acuna Jr. has just joined the 30, make that 31 because he homered last night, 30 Steals Club, man. This kid is the straw that stirs the drink for the Atlanta Braves, the reason they're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, he's definitely on his way to winning an MVP, although his teammate has a chance to win the MVP as well, leads the league in home runs. So we'll have to see how that goes for Matt Olson. But, the first player in MLB history to have 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases in the same season. What an accomplishment.
All right, man, let's get to the NFL portion of this thing, man. We call this NFL Storyline.
Well, the storylines this week are going to be a talk of the divisions. Last week we broke down the AFC and we gave you who we thought was going to finish in what specific order for each division. Yep. We're going to do that again this week. Okay. And we're going to start with the NFC East.
All right, what we got?
All right, we got the defending Super Bowl representation of the NFC in Philadelphia.
Right.
You got the Dallas Cowboys, who also made the playoffs last year. But this time, we've got Washington finishing ahead of the Giants. I'll tell you what, Steve, it's an outside possibility, in my opinion, depending on how the rest of the NFC goes, obviously. But there's an outside chance if they can stay healthy, you could have 3 teams from the NFC East in the playoffs again, because I think the Commanders have a chance to sneak in as a possible wild card team. If they can finish 10-7 or 9-8, it's a possibility. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, it's a possibility, man. I tell you, the thing I'm going to look at is the top of this division, because nobody has won this division 2 years in a row for quite some time. Philadelphia looking to do that, but Philadelphia has a lot to overcome. What do I mean? Well, they lost both of their coordinators. They lost 5 starters on defense, 2 starters on offense. They're going to have to replace that. Do they have a lot of the pieces in place? Yes, they do. But we're going to have to see that implement, and it's going to have to start to manifest in a quick way. I think that they can do that. Dallas will be Dallas, and we know that. All we have to do is wait. It'll come. It'll happen. The one thing about Washington that I like in particular, is the fact that Washington has a defensive coordinator, coach. I'm talking about Ron Rivera. Now, Ron Rivera can concentrate on just the defense because he's got Eric Public Bieniemy that's running the offense. That is a match made in heaven. People, you got to pay attention to that. I like what they can do, because Washington, one thing they can do is wreck your quarterback's day, and they're going to continue to do that, man. Washington is the team that I got my eye on in that division.
Yeah, and Chase Young is listed as questionable for the first game, but if he can get healthy, Steve, that defense just got a hell of a lot better, without question. And they put up over 30 points a game in the preseason, so they've got something going there with Eric Bieniemy for sure.
Okay. So,
all right, let's go.
So let's look at the next division.
All right, let's go to the North. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, now. Last year, Minnesota won the division with an outstanding record of 13-4, but they lost Dalvin Cook. It's a contract year for Kirk Cousins, so we don't think that they're going to finish on the top. We're gonna ride the wave, Steve. Locally or not, we're going to ride the wave, and we're picking the Detroit Lions to win the division this year.
Yeah, man, they got a lot going on. It's a lot to like there for Detroit, man. You just starting with the head coach, Dan Campbell, man. That culture has definitely changed, man. If you got a chance to be around them people, you know exactly what we're talking about. The biggest question mark to me is the Minnesota Vikings, man. What we don't know. What we do know is Kirk Cousins will be Kirk Cousins. What we don't know is the rest, man. It's a lot of questions, man, to be answered, but we just think when it all shakes out, the Detroit Lions will be the cream of the crop in that division.
Yeah, and we've got Green Bay and Chicago at the bottom of the division. Now, it's interesting, Steve, because a lot of people think that the one team that could be a sleeper in that division is Chicago because of Justin Fields. But I've got to see it first before I go there. I've got to see it on the field first.
Yeah, we shall see. I tell you what, shall see.
Minnesota lost Zadarius Smith on defense, too. That's another reason we don't think that they can win the division.
So let's get to the NFC South and how we seeing that shaking out. And when you start with the South, you have to start with the New Orleans Saints, man. You kind of got to love what they did, man. They got a big boy in the room. We finally got a big boy in the room at quarterback. So I think they solved that. Man, their wide receiver room is one of the stacked in the National Football League. That can't be denied. And the defense, definitely, man. They've got 3 of the best players, man, on defense at every layer of their defense. So I really like them. Now, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, man, it's a lot to like there about Atlanta. In particular, man, their playmakers. To get in a Bijan Robinson, you got to watch them. And that is my sneaky playoff team to watch, is the Atlanta Falcons. I really like them, man. You forget about the tight end Pitts. Now you got Drake London on the outside. He appears to be healthy. Man, you pair that all together, man, with a team that looking to finally make a run, man, to get into the playoffs, man. I like the Atlanta Falcons, man.
Then we've got Carolina finishing down below them, and then Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield's got to show us something until we can talk about Tampa Bay. But did you get that text I sent you last week where
Man,
Madden simulated the season and they had Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
Man, y'all got to get up off of that.
That's just ridiculous. But the one question I have about Atlanta is their defense. I still think they need to improve in the linebacking core and in their secondary as well. But we'll see. All right, let's go to the NFC West to wrap it up. We've got the Niners. A lot of people think they're going to the Super Bowl, Steve. I might be one of those. I haven't decided on that just yet, but it's a little too early for me to make a Super Bowl pick. But the Niners, then you've got the Rams finishing second, Seattle third, and Arizona fourth. I'm going to disagree with you on that. I still think Seattle is better than a lot of people think they are. I think Geno can do it again. So for me, I've got Seattle ahead of the Rams. I think the Rams have too many questions that can't be answered right now, especially with the rumors that are coming out of their camp already with the trouble that Stafford's having with the receiving core outside of Cooper Kupp.
Haven't you learned by now, young man, about rumors concerning the Los Angeles Rams? Haven't you learned by now, young man? I mean, don't you know who the real Ram ambassador is, who the insider is on all Ram information? Haven't we figured that out yet? When I get nervous, you get nervous. Trust me.
Do you have them making the playoffs? That's my question.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, it's gonna be a whole lot better than what y'all think it is. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Hey, man. Look, we had fun doing this, man, with the rookies last week, man. It's the thing, man. We call boom or bust rookie. We did last week, but now we're gonna look at 6 quarterbacks, man, that are looking at boom or bust seasons, man. We'll take and tell you whether it'll be a boom season or a bust season. You ready to rock, Andy?
Let's do it.
All right. Our first quarterback is of a team that we said could possibly win their division. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Give me your interpretation on that. Is it going to be a boom season or a bust season?
It has to be a boom season, Steve. It has to. Otherwise, they're not going to win the division. If Jared Goff plays the way they played last year, this is a dangerous team in the NFC. But if he's playing the way that they're saying he's playing in camp, which is a major problem, then it's going to be a bust. But I'll say right now, I'll go with boom because I think they have a favorable schedule. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, man. I think it's boom because I love the culture there, man. I think it's been I think it's definitely been a culture change there in Detroit. I love the change in culture. I love where they're going, man. This team is more physical than what you think, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to find out next Thursday night.
Okay. All right, we'll see. All right, our next quarterback. Oh, we have to go to Cleveland, right? I mean, all the questions around Deshaun Watson.
Yes,
he is going to make or break the Browns season, Steve. There's no question about it. He's improved a lot. I know it was just the preseason, but I like what I saw from him in the preseason. He was leading the offense down the field. The question is, can they convert those opportunities into touchdowns and not field goals? For me, it's a boom. It absolutely is a boom because I think that they're going to call the plays around what he's comfortable with. And if he returns to form like he did in Houston, the Browns can have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, I ain't going to reach that high, but I do think it's going to be a bounce-back season for him, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be a boom. I like the culture there, too. I've had a chance to experience that culture firsthand, so I like that. So I tend to agree with you there. I think it's going to be a boom. Let's get to our next quarterback, Andy.
All right, we got Mac Jones in New England.
Oh.
Wants to get back to Alabama Mac, Steve.
What the hell is that?
What the hell is Alabama Mac? So because we don't know what that is, and based on what I've seen so far on the field, it's a bust. It's definitely a bust. I didn't like this guy when they drafted him. I just don't see it. I know he's got the size, but he doesn't have the arm strength, Steve. And in New England, in the cold, you got to be able to throw the ball through the wind, and I haven't seen him do it. So it's a bust for me.
I think it's a bust for me too, but you got to be able to run the football, man, in New England. And the thing about it is, man, Mr. Smarty Pants, nobody talked about him, man, cutting all his quarterbacks, man, and having only one quarterback on the roster, which was Mac Jones. And then you go out and you get Matt Corral to be his backup. So if something happens to Alabama Mac, here comes Corral. Good luck with that, Mr. Smarty Pants. I'm just saying.
All right, our next quarterback. How can we have this segment and not have him on this list? Right?
Right. Dak Prescott.
It's put up or shut up time, Steve, but I don't think he's a good quarterback. It's a bust for me. I know Dallas is going to be Dallas, and they're probably going to make the playoffs, but I don't think he's the guy that can take them further than that. So it's a bust.
Yeah. Well, to me, it depends on what the question is. If it's a boom season for Dallas to make the playoffs, then I have to go with boom. But if you're talking about Dak taking Dallas to the Super Bowl, then I'm looking at bust. So for me, the answer is both.
Okay. Well, that's one way to get it right. All right, our next quarterback is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And, he had a couple of great seasons in San Francisco, Steve, but I think that's because he was in San Francisco. I don't think he's a good quarterback. This is going to be a bust for me, and I think they're going to be questioning hiring Josh McDaniels because of the play of Jimmy Garoppolo. So this will be a bust for me.
Well, man, it's interesting about Jimmy, man. Jimmy has just always been in a situation, man, where, nobody seems to appreciate him, man. Man, I think he's going to thrive there, man. I think it's a good situation for him, man. I like him, man. I think it's going to boom.
Okay. And our last quarterback, excuse me, maybe the most controversial of all the ones on this list, Brock Purdy gets the starting job in San Francisco. A lot of people, like we were saying earlier, Steve, believe this team can go to the Super Bowl, but they have to be able to have a quarterback play if they're going to do that. Based off of what I saw before he got hurt in the playoffs, I'm going to have to say boom. I think he can be their guy, and I think he will be their guy. And I like San Francisco's chances to go to the Super Bowl because of Brock Purdy at the helm.
Well, again, it's just one of them situations where we just don't know. We think we know, but we really don't know. They've got all the pieces in place, man. So all he has to do is not give the ball to the other team, and it'll be a boom, man. Just because of the way that Kyle Shanahan, coaches, man. One thing about Shanahan, receivers are wide open, man. When he throws them the football, man, that's just kind of how it is, So there you go, man. Boom or bust.
All right, it's college football, right? College football started last week. So week 1 is officially this week. So before we get to who you got, let's take a look at our top 10 one more time.
Well, it's going to be some changes there, man. We definitely got to take a look at, man, USC, we're definitely watching you. They're on the watch list, but we've got number 6 and number 8 going at each other tomorrow, man. That, it's going to be a fall there, man. There's been a lot of early season play that I like. Kings, man, that are on the move. I'm on the landscape of things. We'll be looking at that. But, right now, that's how we see it.
And we're both really high on Utah.
There you go.
See them in our top 10.
And then let's get all right, man, let's get into our college football portion of the show.
All right, it's everybody's favorite segment, Steve. It's back. Here we go. It's time for Who You Got. Let's take a look at our first game. TCU and Colorado coming up here very shortly, right after we're off the air. TCU is favored by 20.5 at home. It's the premiere for Deion Sanders and his son at quarterback. Does that give them enough firepower to cover the spread? Guess what? I say yes. I like Colorado to cover. Give me Colorado in this one.
Okay. Look, man, let me tell y'all something. Y'all got Deion messed up, man. If y'all think Deion gonna show up on the set and get blown out, Hightower, man, I know you like college football. You understand college football. But if you want a winner, you better get with the prime time. I like Colorado today.
All right, the next game we'll take a look at in Charlotte, playing in the Panthers Stadium. It's the Battle of the Carolinas. North Carolina and Heisman favorite Drake May take on Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. South Carolina surprised a lot of people last year, Steve, with an 8-5 record overall. But North Carolina is in the top 25 for a reason. They're a complete team overall. This one's, to me, the easiest one of the day. I think North Carolina wins easily, and they'll definitely cover that 2.5.
Whoa. Oh. Not so fast, my friend. Let me tell you something. Did we look at Drake May? Did we pay attention to how Drake May stumbled the latter portion of last year? Because if you didn't, I did. Let me tell you, he sprinted out of the starting gate, but he was, man, sucking gas coming down the stretch. Is that going to carry over? Because Spencer Rattler had a great offseason, a great spring. Yes, give me that 2.5. Give me the South Carolina Gamecocks. I like Carolina.
Okay. You've got South, I've got North. All right, our final game has to be the game of the weekend, without question. The only game where two teams in the top 10 will face each other in Orlando. It's going to be Florida State and LSU. Now, a couple of players, key players, are not playing for LSU in this game, Steve. And Florida State won this game last year, 24-23, because of a block extra point. A lot of people have Florida State winning the ACC and going to the college football playoff. LSU is a team that you got to keep your eye on, though, because of the talent and their head coach, Brian Kelly. But I'm going to buy right now. I'm going to buy into everybody hyping up Florida State. And this is from my friend Brent Hackleton, who's a diehard Seminole fan down there in St. Augustine, Florida. And I'm going to take Florida State to win the game on Sunday.
Man, I'm sorry, bro. Brent, I'm sorry. But this was the wrong week to kind of be jumping on LSU. Because they've got an axe to grind because of last year. You know, a lot of what they wanted to accomplish didn't happen because of that game last year. I like LSU to win this game. In the words of Ed Orgeron, go Tigers.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right. We're off to a good start because we didn't pick them all the same.
Well,
right?
and you know, I just hope you do better this year than you did last year.
I know. You know what? If I start 0-3, I'm done. That's it. I'm just take me off the segment for the rest of the year if I start 0-3. But I can't start 0-3 because you picked the same game that I picked, the Colorado TCU. So there you go. All right, before we go, we gotta give away that dude for the week, right?
Yeah. So guys, so let me tell you who that is. Every week, man, we're gonna give away, man, the guy who stood out to us the most from the week before. It was week 0 last week. Well, it was the quarterback, Sam Hartman, for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And I heard Brother Hightower yelling from his living room every time they scored. This guy is a problem. He threw 4 touchdown passes, man. He is definitely going to be heard from as this season go on. He is our very first that dude, so give him the sticker.
There it is. All right.
That dude, Sam Hartman.
And that dude's the reason Ohio State fans are a little nervous about that Notre Dame game, maybe more than last year.
You better be.
Yeah.
Better be. So there you go, man. That's 91 of them in the books, man. Glad that you could join us, man, for our ESPN listeners, man. Thanks for joining us. You know, you can always watch the show that you're missing, that you hear us talk about it on Keeping It Real Sports, our Facebook page, or you could go to our Keeping It Real Sports YouTube page, man. We got a lot there, man. Just check us out, man. There's a lot of content there, things that don't make the show, man. Our list and all of that is on our Facebook page, man. So, for Josh Burnham, I am the Real Sports Guy. Steve Taylor, he is the Sandman, Andy Sanzada. Until next week,
we wish you love
and peace. Chuck them deuces.